Hello, I'm Karen Elgersma at St. John the Baptist Heritage Church right here in beautiful Colwood, and you're watching Go Island on Shaw TV. On today's show, a new organization helping folks who want to break into the film industry. How one cute puppy is helping seniors. And James Green sings with a star. All that and more on Go Island.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
Welcome to Go Island, the show that today will take you back in time. A time where Colwood lived simpler ways, where people wore gloves and top hats and celebrated with picnics and community events. And yes, they want to invite all of you out to be part of this incredible heritage celebration. I do. I feel like I have just stepped into a time machine, and we're in Colwood in, 100 years ago. Tell us about Saturday's event, Sandra.
Well, we do want to invite the community to come back and join us, step back in time to 100 years ago, 1913, when this church was consecrated, and invite the community to come and enjoy simpler times, the way they did in those days. So kids' picnic games, heritage crafts, a theater production that will be about some of the families in Colwood at that time. There's music, there's free refreshments, and guests arrive by carriage through this beautiful setting.
Yes, horse and carriage is how you will be transported to the Heritage Festival. What does it mean to you for Colwood to come together and really honor the history of this great community?
Well, I think the big thing here is we're talking about 100 years ago, and imagine the time and the community that depended on things like the church. And this was a meeting place of the people that lived in this area, and it brought them all together. And what we're trying to do is celebrate that time again, but 100 years on. And remembering also, this was pre-First World War. That's how far back this goes. Absolutely wonderful thought.
And what a beautiful church.
It is a beautiful church, and it has an amazing story of how the community came together to raise funds to build this church. It's a real community spirit feel that we want to bring back to Colwood.
And you'll have a chance to not only see the church, but there'll be a historical display on, and it will allow you to really see Colwood over the last 100 years.
We'll have a Cooper, which is a bucket maker, a tin-type photographer doing old-fashioned photography. We have a wool spinner who will be coming to demonstrate that craft. And
a lot of people in costume.
costume.
And one can just imagine wearing these kind of clothes. Actually, they're very comfortable right now, but I'm not sure if I'd like to wear them day in, day out.
Might get a little hot, Sandra.
There's a little business getting it together, yeah.
More on the Heritage Festival will be happening here in Colwood. But first, as I look around, I feel like I'm with actors, but there's a place in the Cowichan Valley that are calling all actors and filmies, people who want to get into that business. Jen Morenitz has that story. One of the things that makes the Heritage Day that's going to happen right here in Colwood so special is some of the events that they have planned. Now, the church behind us really is a catapult for so many of the things that are happening on Saturday. Can you tell me about this church, this beautiful church behind us?
Well, the church, 100 years ago, the community came together and on land that was donated by a very generous Colwood family, and with money donated by the Dunsmuir family as well as members of other members of the community. They built a fabulous church so that people could come together and work on all the community aspects that you need, worship and also community events.
It's also a great place to have a wedding. So of course, Saturday would not be complete without one. Marcy, tell me about the wedding on Saturday.
We have a nice couple that came into the city that wanted to tie the knot. They were a couple that were together in Germany when they were teenagers and somehow got separated. And now they've come back together and they would like to have their wedding ceremony here. And they don't have many family members in Victoria, so the community is going to be their family that day.
Okay, how much do you love that? They're going to dress up in heritage costumes, have their ceremony right here live as part of the event on Saturday, and you get to be a guest. I love that.
Me too.
You must have had goosebumps when he told you that story.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, amazing. We're going to take a really quick break, but stay with us because when we come back, a very good news story about a volunteer that has 4 legs and is fluffy. Welcome back to Go Island, where we are taking a step back in time as we celebrate the heritage of Colwood. Now, one of the amazing parts of heritage of any community is walking through a graveyard, because you see the names of the people who built the community, who often there are buildings and streets and roads named after them, and it's always an amazing experience. Can you tell us, let's begin a little bit about this church and who owns it right now, because it's 100 years old, but it's changed hands in the last 18 years.
In the 1970s, the church group here was running out of room. It wasn't large enough for the number of community members who needed to be here. And so they built a new church and moved on, and this church fell into disrepair. And eventually, in the early 1990s, the Anglican diocese had decided to get rid of it. It was in need of repair, and a group of Colwood citizens came forward and convinced the council to be involved actively and take ownership of this church for $1. And the citizens promised that they would raise all the funds necessary to restore the church and make it have a useful life.
So many cool things happening. We're going to show you the hall in just a moment and talk about some of the things that will be happening there on Saturday. But first, there are so many people here on Vancouver Island who volunteer. In fact, I'm sure you'll have tons of volunteers supporting you with your event on Saturday. But there's one volunteer who's only too happy to make a difference in the lives of folks living in a senior home. People, I want you to repent and come on Saturday to St. John's the Baptist right here in beautiful Colwood. Why? Because there's an amazing heritage event happening. I mean, this church was built 100 years ago with love and commitment and built for community. And Colwood has kept this church alive. It's now available for so many events, including this very cool event on Saturday. Marcy, there's so many community groups that want to be part of this event, including the Girl Guides. How are they going to help out?
The Girl Guides are going to be at the event serving food, so our goal of the day is for everybody to come sit down under the tents, and the Girl Guides are going to come and serve you.
So much has happened in this church over the last 100 years, and if you come to Heritage Day, you will hear some of the cool stories. And one of the things that often happens in churches is people sing, including our very own superstar, Maureen Washington, who I've had the pleasure of hearing so many times. What an amazing voice, but she also has an incredible story. And James Green caught up with her and heard about how she got in to this business of singing. And he also stepped up to the plate and did a little duet with her. It's free, it's fun, it's fabulous. Colwood on Saturday, don't miss it. It's really one of those events that you'll be glad you took part in, because it's all about building community and remembering where we started. I want to thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you here on Colwood on Saturday.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network, Men's Wardrobe by DG Bremner & Co., Menswear and Accessories, Hair Services provided by Salon J,